Hey guys, this is Martin again from Bug Bounty Service, and today I'm going to show you a CSRF vulnerability, also known as cross-site request forgery. What does cross-site request forgery mean? In a nutshell, it's that an attacker can host a malicious script somewhere on a server they control, and when a victim visits that particular server or that particular script, it will execute under the victim's context and will make changes unknowingly to the victim. Okay, and for that purpose, we are doing a little demonstration here. So as you can see, this is an administrator portal, and I can modify the doctor, right? So if you go down here, you see once again, like the things you can change, like the name and for example, the description. So I just call this description here, and then the availability status, like is the doctor unavailable or available? So let's say the doctor is bookable. And you can see here there's a hidden field called CSRF token. So what that token is supposed to do is the token is supposed to be, first of all, unique, and it's being sent with every request. So what the token is supposed to do, for example, is that an attacker cannot guess the token because they would need the token so that the victim who executes the script can execute it successfully, right? So it's a protection against cross-site request forgery. So if I save the information here and then I come back and reload, you see the CSRF token now has changed. So it's an unpredictable parameter. So on the next request, it requires this CSRF token, right? And then on the next request, it requires another one and things like that. So this is supposed to be protecting the application from CSRF attacks. Let's take a look at this in burp in a bit more detail. So here you can see if I use the correct CSRF token, I send this to repeater. And then if I use the correct CSRF token, I get a success message that the request or the update has been done successfully. So let me send this again, and it works. So this is the first thing I notice. And let me just verify this real quick. So I changed the name from Sean to Tim, send it again, and then let's refresh the page here and see if the name has changed to Tim, and it has. So this is the first problem, the first bug I would have encountered is that the CSRF token is static. So I can reuse that CSRF token more than once, which is obviously a vulnerability, right? But still, let's say I'm removing the last character, right? And another test and see what I get. And it is still accepting it. So in order to make sure, call this guy Tom. Call the guy Tom, doctor has been modified, let's head over, refresh the page, and it has been modified to Tom. So it's not even checking the whole CSRF token. So that's another vulnerability. But what I want to demonstrate you is, for example, like let's put a name in here, and there's a lot of vulnerabilities here on the CSRF token already, which are exploitable, but one common mistake developers make is they bind the CSRF token to only the post request. So effectively, when there is a post, it checks the CSRF token. If the CSRF token is correct, then it will go on and execute that post request. What attackers can do is basically they can change the request method to get, right? So now you don't have a body anymore, and because all your parameters are now attached as parameters in the get URL up here, as you can see this. So that makes the CSRF token pretty much irrelevant. And now I can actually delete the CSRF token because it's only applicable to post requests, right? So what can I do now? I can launch the request, right? So I send it and I get a success message, which is great already. And then I refresh and it should say Martin now. And it does. It does say Martin. Okay, so fantastic. So this is already like the skeleton exploit for what I want to do. So for example, if I now say like, I want to change the name to hacker and I want to make sure that that doctor is not bookable, I put it to 0, right? Like instead of 1, I put it to 0. And now what I can do in Burp Suite Pro is I can use the engagement tools and I can generate a CSRF POC, it's called, right? And then it's creating me a JavaScript file, which is basically that with an automated submit at the end. And if I want to test this, I could host this now on my server, for example, right? I can host this to the server, send the administrator of this hospital application a link and say like, hey, please click here, or something like a phishing kind of mail. And then in a minute they click the link, the values will be changed. So it's not being checked from where it's run from. And because the CSRF token has no longer relevance in this game, effectively by just clicking that link to and executing that malicious JavaScript, it would effectively render the change. So I can test this in browser. Purpose makes this quite easy for a proof of concept. And then I simply open another tab here in the same context of the administrator. So that's important. The administrator needs to be logged into that functionality, otherwise it doesn't work, right? But if I put it in here and then I hit enter, you see the request go through and the doctor has been modified. And now if I refresh the administrative portal, you will see it has become a hacker and the status has become unavailable. So this is like a basic concept, basic proof of concept for a CSRF, a cross-site request forgery attack. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to see you in the next videos. Thank you.